So have a heart like a manger, a heart like a manger, a heart. You know, what does a heart do? Well, it beats. In the Gospel of Thomas, Jesus is quoted as saying, the sign of the Spirit in you is a movement and a rest. And then he just drops it and goes on to something else. Never explains it. What is a movement and a rest? It's a heart beating. If you did push-ups or chin-ups or sit-ups or even just moved your arm like this for a while, how long would it take before, how many push-ups would you have to do before it would hurt and you'd have to stop, you'd be screaming out in pain because of the weariness, because you'd be so tired? 1, 3, 10, 5, 20, I don't know. Why is that? Because you need to take a rest. Your muscles need a rest. Sit-ups, any movement, and yet your heart is a muscle. So what's the difference? No matter what the condition of your heart is, it's going to beat for an average of 80 years without slowing down or stopping. Sign of a spirit is a movement and a rest, and there is a pause. There's a rest inherent in every heartbeat. The heart rests while it's moving, or in between its movements. It's the sign of the Spirit. The heart in you is the sign of the Spirit. It's a movement and a rest. And if you want a heart like a manger, you have to honor that need to rest. Yesterday, we were supposed to clean our house. We do that every so often. And that was the day. We were going to get up and we were going to go clean the house, and then after that we're going to go get our tree, and then we're going to decorate our tree, and then Lynn and Rosalie were going to go out and shop, and we had all these things figured out, and we woke up and we were like, ain't no way. So we let go of cleaning the house. So, sorry folks. That's just the way it's going to be. The sign of the Spirit is a movement and a rest. To have a heart like a manger, you've got to have the rest. The manger is in a barn which is located in a cave which is dark, quiet, place of rest. I love kind of the cynical, satirical quote from Isaiah. This is what God says. Now remember that Egypt here represents your subconscious impulses that run you. Only in returning and rest will you be restored, and quiet confidence is your strength. But you're going to have none of it. No, you said, I'll get my help from Egypt. They'll give me swift horses for riding into battle. The only swiftness you're going to be able to see is the swiftness of that which is chasing you. One of them will chase 1,000 of you. 5 of them will make all of you flee. You'll be left like a lonely flagpole up on a hill or a tattered banner on a distant mountaintop. So God will have to wait for you, showing you love and compassion. God has enough faith for you both and will lift you up if you will take the time to wait for that help. A movement and a rest. What are you doing in the middle of the busyness? There are things to do. But remember, we put the gift under the tree. So many things to do. But when we get up on Christmas morning or on Christmas Eve, when we open our presents, there'll be one that's a rest. A movement and a rest. You know, Jesus and his disciples always went away to get their rest. They went to the mountaintop, which is that high place in consciousness that you go to when you pray and you read your daily word and you meditate and you reflect, that you hopefully do that every day. A movement and a rest. Or they went out on a boat. Well, this is a good one. Out on a boat. There were so many people coming and going that Jesus and his disciples couldn't even eat. Sound familiar? So he said to them, let's go off all by ourselves to some place where we can be alone, and let's rest a while. They started out in a boat by themselves to a quiet place. Go out on the quiet emotions, the water. How about out in the desert? He would go away where there were no sensory distractions. Into your closet, close the door. A movement and a rest. A rest. A rest. Have a heart like a manger. Take the rest. I know what you're thinking. He's giving me one more thing to do. Now I got to have a rest on top of everything else. The good news is that if you take the rest, it'll give you more time. Movement and a rest. You know that the heart contains these little cells within it called pacemaker cells. And without them, the heart wouldn't know how to beat. You know, they defibrillate because the heart's just kind of moving all around. That's because the pacemaker cells aren't in sync. But when your heart's beating properly, these few cells tell the other cells to beat. And they found that in the laboratory with animal cells, if they take a pacemaker cell and they put other heart cells near it, even from a different animal, they all start beating together. In your family, you might be the pacemaker cell. You might be the one who brings things into sync. You don't even know it. At your work. So what about that heart like a manger? How can you be that pacemaker cell? One way is to not expect anything. Because the manger, what is the manger? The manger is a feed trough into which a baby is placed. The baby that is going to feed you through this year, that gift that you gave yourself under the tree, that courageous spiritual step. But tell me about a baby. What do you notice about a baby? You don't expect anything from a baby. You really don't. Maybe that's why it's so easy to love a baby, because you have no expectations. Remember Wayne Dyer's definition of love? He said, love is the ability and the willingness to let everyone be and do what they choose to be or do without any insistence that they satisfy us. So a baby, you hold a baby. You don't expect anything from the baby. If the baby needs its diaper changed, you don't go, how dare you do this to me in my busy day? You just change the baby's diaper. Now, if I did that, it would be outrageous. But the difference is that you don't expect me to do that. You expect me not to do that. But the baby, you have no expectations. That's why it's so easy to love the baby. Unconditional love is based on loving without expectations of return. Loving the baby is, I love you and I let you be. Who in your life do you need to love and let be? That doesn't mean that you don't have expectations of things here and there, but you got to be willing to let them go. Doesn't mean that you don't share your needs, but you need to let go of those needs sometimes in order to love. This doesn't mean you can't say, please pass the ketchup. And if the person says, get your own ketchup. If you're all upset about the fact that they're not meeting that need, you're never going to get your ketchup. Hold the baby. Don't expect anything from the baby. And hold people in your heart like that as well. I love you and I don't need anything from you. Together? I love you and I don't need anything from you. I love you and I don't want anything from you. Together? I love you and I don't want anything from you. I love you and I don't expect anything from you. Together? I love you and I don't expect anything from you. You may be the pacemaker cell. You may be that one that brings things into alignment. And part of the way you do that is you let go of your expectation. You let things be. I love you and I let you be. Together? I love you and I let you be. Letting go of all expectations. Certainly being willing to express that which you need or you would desire, but then you have to let it go. And let things be. You can set up the banquet for people, but you can't make them eat it. And sometimes when you're dealing with your family celebrations, you have something that I call an NMP. Not my problem. It's a not my problem. Doesn't mean that you're codependent or you're victimized or you whatever, and that there's not behaviors that you don't take steps, whatever. But basically, you love them, you let them be, and when it's not to your liking, it's an NMP for the most part. It's a not my problem. I let it go. I loose you, I let you go, I fully and freely release you. And then you're free. And then you're free to do what? Well, like a baby. You can hold the baby. You can love the baby because you're not expecting the baby to get up and do anything for you. It's not going to take out the garbage. It's not going to pull the car deep farther into the driveway. It's not going to, keep the dog from barking. The baby just is. What else do you know about a heart like a manger? It's that which feeds you all year, and you've set an intention into motion. Most of us in this church, our courageous spiritual step that we set into motion, Thanksgiving, and I've been reminding you of, what is that non-physical gift you're giving to yourself that's going to give to you all 2013? Whatever that is, that's what's going to feed you. And this birth, this baby, this is what you're giving to yourself. And it's in a cave. It's in a quiet place, yet it's very singular. It's very unusual. How often is a baby born? Maybe several every second around the world. And yet it's a miracle. If you've experienced it firsthand or secondhand like me, it's a miracle. Ralph Waldo Emerson said that if stars shone in the sky only once every 1,000 years, everybody be outside looking up in awe all night. Everyone would instantly become a believer because they would see the city of God above their heads. And yet it's so commonplace. Miracles happen all the time. Being able to see that, oh, what a miraculous birth this was. And yet it was not noticed by anybody. It wasn't noticed by anybody except for maybe some shepherds who didn't count because they were outlaws. They were unclean ritually. They were people that were looked down on. They were the lower classes. They were the 99%. They were the ones who didn't get counted. A little later, the Magi came along and they gave those gifts, but they were outsiders. They were foreigners. So in a sense, this birth is about the acceptance of the gift of being an outsider. The gift of the birth of divinity in your heart is a gift of accepting yourself as an outsider. Now, have you ever felt like an outsider? Everybody in this room is thinking to themselves, I really felt like I don't fit in. I just don't quite fit in. I've tried to fit in, and it just doesn't. And the irony is that everybody else on planet Earth feels exactly the same way. Everybody else, we think everybody else fits in. But the truth is that this is part of the human condition, and it's a divine setup, and it's a setup to say to you, to say to me, that we have to stop looking for it out there and find it in here. That gift we're looking for is a gift we have to give to ourselves. And it's in a stable. The heart like a manger is in a stable. Well, sometimes those animals, sometimes the conditions of life, we may judge, but we let them be. We don't expect those people around us to behave differently than they are. We let them be. We give the gift of unconditional love. There's a gift there in your heart. I want to share a poem from a wonderful poet named Anne Herbert. She's the one who came up with the idea of random acts of kindness and senseless acts of beauty back 30 years ago. It's called Zeroing In on Your Heart, and I rarely read long poems, but this is beautiful. Take it as a meditation. Zeroing in on your heart, there's something there. Your heart is the height of the waterfall and the slant of the continent and the tug of our lover moon and everything that makes water flow through life. Your heart is that for you. Listen. Nobody ever told your heart that life and love are different. Every heart you've ever heard of in poem or scientific rumor, all those hearts are your heart for you. Listen. It's beating the pull of heat, molten love. Keep moving. Molten love is what you're made of. Liquid at 98.6. Listen. Quietly flowing through your eardrum with all the force you have, your Nile, your Mississippi, your creek in your own backyard. A river is all you are, and your heart flows it. Your heart is all you are. Listen. Your oldest dream that you had as your youngest thought is a spring trickling slowly forever. And if you don't drink it, it will slowly wash away your heartless life. Listen. I try a little love now and then. I try to love occasionally. My heart beats all the time, stays with it. My heart is real love. Listen. They tell us to be sensible. Well, be sensible if you want to, but first find something sensible to replace your heart, to feed every cell of your being, every minute of your day. Sensible, make a deal with something that will keep you a living, solid liquid all your life. Listen to your heart beating in the night and the busy afternoon. It beats, and it beats again, and it beats again. Will it beat again? Yes. And what does your heart want you to do? Listen. Your life contains within it a need for a movement and a rest. That's why it says in Genesis that God, after creating everything, took the seventh day for a rest. And Jesus said that Sabbath was made for you, not you for it. It's there to serve you and to feed you. And that means you create spaces in the togetherness of your life and make the decision in your life that you're going to live your life from an inner timepiece, an inner clock. And you're going to listen. Christmas just means love. As I wrote in the bulletin, everything else is just the wrapping paper. It's a universal celebration that transcends all religions. Gandhi said, God doesn't even have a religion. The disciples didn't have a religion. They had an experience. When your heart energy goes out, you swim in it, you move in it. You don't control it. You don't control water, do you? You just let it be and you move with it. Imagine, before you go to your celebration, that your heart energy moves out in front of you, making calm and clear and perfect your path, and then move in with it and swim in that energy, move with that energy. Let this Christmas be that incredible beating heart that contains within it the rest along with the movement, that contains within it that quiet and confidence that is your strength. I want to give to you a present today. It's a gift of a song that I wrote. It's called The Christmas Blues, and I want to share it with you. It's Christmas blues. I feel so good inside of my heart singing these Christmas blues.
Yeah.
So here we go. You're moving into an experience in which you're going to give of yourself as you've never given yourself before, because you're going to be giving the gift of unconditional acceptance of the people around you. You're going to say to the people in your life to whom you're going to be giving these invisible gifts, silently, I don't expect anything from you. I don't need anything from you. I don't want anything from you. I'm going to love you the way I love a baby. And so you will transform their experience into being just as lovable as a baby. And you can let them be, and you can love them. And as we move into our time of giving, we're going to take this thought. I give from my heart like a manger, and I receive from my heart like a deep breath, and open your heart to Christmas. Open your heart and have a heart like a manger. And it's really hard to imagine that this manger that we want to express in our hearts was literally a feed box in a barn in a cave behind a bar. It was a place that was not hospitable, but it was perfect because they made it that way. And we make our hearts ready. We don't wait for the conditions to be the way we want them to be. We make our hearts ready. We choose in to Christmas. We choose in, and we give the gift of our spiritual self to every person in our lives. Just as we gave thanks at Thanksgiving and brought this energy in, and we chose the spiritual birth that we want to experience coming into this coming year, 2013. So we know that this Christmas we are giving birth and experiencing the birth of this courageous spiritual gift, this step that is rolling out into the new year. New beginnings, new possibilities, new life, new love, new satisfaction, new growth. But it begins with a gift. And I want you to imagine with me your Christmas celebration, whether it's Christmas Eve, Christmas morning, or some other time. Whether or not it has a tree involved in it, just imagine the scene exactly as it will be. Send out your heart energy. I send out my heart energy, making smooth my way. With a sense of ease, we send out our heart energy. It's like water. Water that we swim in, water that's easy. We don't force it. We experience it, we enjoy it, we appreciate it. The heart energy this Christmas in that scene, that we will be immersed in it, involved in it. We send it out and then we move into it. And we imagine the people that we love. And we give them a spiritual gift, the people that will be there. We imagine the spiritual gift that we will give to those most significant to us. What will it be? An understanding heart? A friend? A listening ear? Unconditional acceptance? Simply being present with unconditional love without judgment. Imagine that you've wrapped the present and you've placed it under the tree for each person. What is this gift? Identify with it. Place it there. Each one. And now there's one special gift. A precious gift no one else can give. That is to your spiritual self. What is the spiritual gift that you want to unwrap on Christmas for yourself? Not something physical. What is it that you want to experience going forward into 2013? A spiritual gift that you and only you can give to yourself. Imagine it as if you could put it in a box, an invisible paper wrapped all around it, an invisible ribbon and bow. Identify the spiritual quality or gift that you want to give yourself. Place it under the tree. And sit in presence with it. I will remember to unwrap this present when all the festivities are going on and everybody's unwrapping their presents. I will unwrap this present in my heart and my mind. And I will give this present to myself on Christmas, and it will be the gift that gives to me all year long. And I am grateful. I embrace this, and so it is.